So that is Kensington Palace, and this is a 49ers update from London on a spectacular spring day. We got to talk about the safety position because while I was asleep here in the UK, the 49ers reportedly have shown interest in Jamal Adams. Super polarizing, right? Former Seahawks player. Before that, he was with the Jets. Likes to talk a lot off the field. A lot of 49ers fans like, never, never, never. And I from a football standpoint, the guy's coverage abilities have diminished. He's only 28 years old, though, and he could still blitz. He can still rush the quarterback. I think you look at him as a linebacker if you're the 49ers. I think it makes complete sense. Look at all of this team's linebackers. They all have a DB background. Somebody like Demetrius Flanagan-Foles was straight up a safety in college. Fred Warner played a DB-like position at BYU in college. The 49ers love coverage ability and speed out of their linebackers. Obviously, that position's going to have a bigger frame, more ready for combat near the line of scrimmage. So you're going to want them to cover, but you don't need them to cover at the same level as safeties. I think Jamal Adams is at a stage of his career where the 49ers could bring him in as a blitzing specialist. Probably wouldn't cost all that much. I think that's why they're interested, right? Because they want to see if they can get him at a good price. If they can't, then they would lose interest pretty quick. But that's where that's coming from, and it leads to a good discussion of the safety position while we're here in London. As you know, going through Europe, talking about different 49ers draftees, different 49ers position groups as we work our way through. And they picked another player for the position in Malik Mustafa, who, a lot of people, this is their favorite member of the 49ers draft class. He is a hard hitter. Ball of muscle, Malik Mustafa. I mean, he doesn't have the best coverage tracking abilities, although I don't think the range is bad, but boy, this guy is a weapon in run support near the line of scrimmage. And when you look at the way that I think the 49ers have made a name for themselves defensively, have been such a strong unit over the past few years, they have had guys in that back seven that have been willing to get up and get dirty against the run. This past season, they weren't as good against the run, and I think they got away from that a little bit. Losing Talanoa Hufanga did not help this team as far as run defense went. Somebody like Malik Mustafa is going to make you stronger against the run. I mean, he's very, very strong as far as his recognition goes, as far as studying tape, as far as knowing where plays are going to develop based on instinct. But instinct is taught by preparation. I thought that one thing that really stood out to me about Malik Mustafa is that he remembered talking to the 49ers at the NFL Combine. And they're in Indy. They've got the whole convention center hotel set up. Teams have hotel rooms where they interview players. So all of the team's brass that is part of the player evaluation will be sitting in the hotel room, and the players will go visit with many teams. Sometimes they'll visit with a couple dozen teams at the NFL Combine. It's almost like a car wash process. And Malik Mustafa, after the 49ers drafted him, and talking to him, he said he remembers walking into the 49ers room for his interview, and he remembers Frank Gore sitting in there. And he was starstruck when Frank Gore was sitting there. And to me, that shows, Frank Gore, it's symbolic in a way. That guy prepared for games. That guy was on top of all his P's and Q's. As a running back, obviously was a great pass protector, but was able to take the fact that he wasn't a great athlete as far as the testing went and still turned into a Hall of Fame caliber player. Malik Mustafa, he's going to have to approach the game from the same way. This is not, 49ers have a lot of elite athletes in this class. Malik Mustafa is not one of them, but he's a hard hitter, he's a football player, and he's somebody who relies on preparation to be in the right spot. And the fact that he remembered seeing Frank Gore in that 49ers pre-draft interview, I think was a cool connection, right? Because he understands 49ers history, A, but B, he understands what it takes to be a good player. And he's going to be an intriguing add into a room that has another instinctive player who's returning from injury, and that's Talanoa Hufanga, right? Now, Talanoa Hufanga ran a 4.6 coming out of USC in 2021, but as 49ers fans have seen, moves a lot better than that on the field because of the first step, because of the preparation, the instincts, the study. Now we'll see what Talanoa looks like coming off of the torn ACL. He's rehabbing from that right now, and it's a big subtext to what the 49ers might be doing at safety, because not only is he coming off a torn ACL, he's only under contract for one more season. So they added Jair Brown out of Penn State last year. I think they were happy with his rookie season. They just added Malik Mustafa. Talanoa Hufanga is supposed to come back here in this 2024 season from that injury. What about somebody like Justin Simmons? Keep this in mind. After the NFL draft, no free agent that you sign counts against the compensatory formula, and Simmons is still available. So that's the compensatory pick plus minus formula. We know that the 49ers are big out of getting as many bites out of the apple as they can in the draft. We know that comp pick formula is something they're playing better than any other team in the NFL as we speak. So you can't close the book on a Justin Simmons signing if you can get him at the right price. Everything is about financial efficiency for San Francisco right now. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all, oh, there needs to be a fire sale. They can fit guys onto the budget, but they need to get them at the right number. So you look at somebody like Simmons, most interceptions in the NFL since 2018. You look at somebody like Jamal Adams, who I think you would look at as a blitzing specialist out of that linebacker position. I don't think you would look at him as a true safety. I mean, if there still is good football in Jamal Adams left, I think the 49ers are uniquely positioned to squeeze it out of him, right? So that's why they're interested in guys like this, because they're potential contributors for a title-ready team that's looking to just get a little extra juice if they can be had at the right price. And if they can't be had at the right price, well, that's why the 49ers are so excited about who they've drafted the past couple of years in Jair Brown, who they drafted this year, Malik Mustafa. Obviously familiar with Frank Gore, familiar with some of this franchise's history. It's a mix and match of a bunch of different pieces, and I think that safety position intersects the crossroads that the 49ers are at better than almost any other spot, because you've got the veterans, you've got the veterans close to seeing their contract expire, you've got the younger players like Jair Brown, you've got the rookie like Malik Mustafa, and you've got veteran possibilities to add like Justin Simmons. Might not be likely, given the fact that, you know, some team is probably going to decide to pay Justin Simmons more than the 49ers can budget, given the whole Brock Purdy situation coming up, given their whole financial realities. But again, I said this before the draft, no stone unturned. 49ers should not be leaving any stones unturned, and they're certainly striving to exhaust all of their options. London, by the way, and I have one more thought on the 49ers after this, but this has been a good first stop of the Euro trip. We ended up drinking in Parliament yesterday. They've got bars. We got invited into the Parliament building. Don't ask me how. Actually, we have a friend that connected us. But they're like House of Representatives. I think they call it the House of Commons. And they like MPs, members of Parliament. They've got bars inside this spectacular Parliament building. And we're literally having gin and tonics and beers with these guys in Parliament. And then they just have to leave to go vote. And they come back. And then they have another drink. I mean, it's definitely different out here in the UK. Good time with all the history, the Big Ben, the food, the shoom, by the way, iconic. We know that the Indian food in London is very, very good. I think the most ordered dish in the city of London, by the way, is chicken tikka masala. So check out the shoom if you're ever here. Having a very good time here as I discuss the 49ers. And, you know, this is something that I could peek ahead to for a future video from Europe, but the 49ers draft strategy this year, I think there was a notable shift in the athleticism of the players that they got. The relative athletic score, which combines height, weight, agility, speed. Look at the relative athletic scores of players that the 49ers added in this 2024 draft. All of them, almost all of them, almost all of these relative athletic scores on the very good to elite level. Nothing like years prior, where the 49ers might have had an elite athlete or two. This season, they were really, really focused on getting the top shelf guys. And this is something that I'm gonna delve into more. Is this a change of philosophy after Adam Peters left? This is just chance after 1 year, or is this something that the 49ers are really zeroed in on? But when we react to this 2024 draft, I think the first thing that we have to say is, wow, they were able to find guys who test it really, really well. And my initial thought is, what a good way to scrounge some value out of, especially the later round picks. You're finding guys who have plus upside athletically.
And we just went with the players that we really liked and appreciated. You know, one thing I used on some of the earlier players' consensus, this, you know, it was a big draft where, you know, if every avenue of our organization can get behind someone. We felt really good about these guys, really good football players. We know we do well when we have consensus in our group, and that's from scouting, coaching, R&D. And
The 49ers found consensus. John Lynch really seemed to emphasize that between not only the scouts and the coaches, but also the R&D department, research and development. And I think those are the guys that were all over some of these metrics. Maybe even to introduce some of these players to the 49ers coaches and their scouts, who then broke down the tape and decided that this class was worth drafting. So we'll look into that 49ers strategy and any potential shifts here as we continue going through Europe. More players to talk about as well. But Malik Mustafa and the safeties, Jamal Adams, potential candidate for the 49ers according to those latest reports, and of course some of the other rumors like Justin Simmons. It's going to be fascinating to see how the 49ers finish this group. All right, we'll talk to everybody soon.